And it's another paradox, isn't it, that in a sense the Mandela of reconciliation and forgiveness who walked out of prison was, in some sense, the creation of the apartheid prison system. It is said by critics of Mandela in the country now that, did the apartheid regime plant some sort of chip in Mandela while he was in Robben Island so that he became out their man and not the man of black South Africans? So just to kind of continue with that kind of metaphor for a moment. It is true that Mandela reflected on leadership at great length, clearly, we now know, and on the problem of a racially divided country for those years that he was in Robben Island. But I think we also need to remember, which is why I've touched in some of the points I was making on the 1930s, the 40s, and the 50s. He was, judging from those who worked with him at the time, their memoirs, records that we have of speeches that he gave at the time, he was already in the 1950s an incredibly charismatic leader who was able to read a crowd or read an audience in a remarkably astute and also an intuitive way. I would like to suggest that those qualities of patient reflection, of anticipating, if you like, the line of attack of the opposition or the other party, was something, those were qualities he already had when he went into the long years of incarceration. But then they were honed and perfected. He was already, I didn't talk about his formidable chess playing abilities, but he was a formidable chess player, and that was partly because his comrades on Robben Island conjectured that was partly because he was so good at seeing the board, reading the situation from the point of view of the opposition. But he was already a chess player in that way, very deliberate, very slow, taking ages over his moves. He was already that formidable chess player when he went into the long years of incarceration. So I would say that those years didn't detract from those core qualities, but that they were already there, in potential anyway. And we need to be very careful when we say these things about the positive effect of 27.5 years. I think we do need to be very careful that we don't then start speaking of Mandela as, if you like, the sort of the creature, the creation of the apartheid state.